Zandvoort of 2025, a 20-year-old rookie qualified fourth at the Dutch Grand Prix, and in the Red Bull corner, they were watching for something rare. 72 laps later, Isack Hadjar had held off George Russell and Charles Leclerc, gone wheel-to-wheel with Max Verstappen, and inherited third when Norris retired early. His first F1 podium. 8 months later, 8 months earlier, Melbourne destroyed him before the race even started. Now Zandvoort made him Red Bull's choice. From tears on the formation lap to a factory seat alongside the four-time world champion. This is the story of Isack Hadjar and the impossible challenge waiting for him in 2026. The crash that changed everything. It's March of 2025, and in Australia, Isack Hadjar was about to make his F1 debut after years of climbing through karting, French F4, Formula Regional F3, and finishing runner-up in F2. Qualifying delivered P11, respectable for a rookie at Racing Bulls. Then came Sunday morning's formation lap. Rain had begun to fall as Hadjar pushed to warm his tires, heading into turn 3. The rear stepped out, he overcorrected, and the car spun sideways into the barriers. His debut was over before the race even started. Cameras found him in the cockpit, helmet bowed, shoulder shaking, and Lewis Hamilton's father, Anthony, walked over to console him. The internet was merciless. They said he's not ready for F1. Red Bull is rushing another talent. Career over before it even began. Hadjar took full responsibility, tears still in his eyes, but rather than letting the moment define him, he got back to work. What happened next would separate the rookies who survive all the highest levels from the ones who disappear into obscurity. The silent recovery. Just 2 weeks later in China, a brand new track that Hadjar had never driven before. Yet 3 laps into Friday's practice, he was already competitive. There was no hesitation, no psychological scars, just raw speed. Suzuka brought the same story, and by lap 3, he was matching drivers with years of experience, and Helmut Marko started using a specific phrase. He reminds me of someone from the past. Points flowed consistently through Saudi Arabia, Imola, Monaco, and Spain. Not podiums, but solid top 10 finishes, building a foundation. Now, behind the scenes, Red Bull's data analysts caught something fascinating. His tire management was exceptional. His racecraft showed unusual maturity, and every time he arrived at a new circuit, he was immediately fast after just 3 laps. By Miami, Racing Bulls team principal Lauren Mekis was having serious conversations with Helmut Marko about the young Frenchman's potential. Then came the summer break. When F1 returned, everything would change at Zandvoort. The Dutch Grand Prix weekend started like any other race weekend on the calendar, but it would end with Red Bull making a decision that would shape up the 2026 grid, the Statement Drive. Saturday qualifying at Zandvoort delivered a stunning result. Hadjar put his Racing Bulls 4th on the grid, ahead of George Russell and both Ferraris, right in front of Max Verstappen's home crowd. Sunday lights went out and Hadjar held 4th into turn 1. Ahead sat just 3 faster cars, Piastri leading, Verstappen hunting, and Norris in 3rd. By lap 15, Charles Leclerc was pushing hard from behind, but Hadjar defended brilliantly with clean racing and intelligent positioning. Lap 30 brought George Russell closing in with DRS in a faster Mercedes, yet Hadjar held position while the pit wall remained remarkably calm. The most impressive moment came at lap 50 when Verstappen was just ahead, and Hadjar matched the pace of arguably the best driver on the planet. Then on lap 68, Lando Norris suffered a mechanical retirement that handed Hadjar 3rd place, his first F1 podium. In the Red Bull motorhome overlooking the circuit, Helmut Marko allowed himself a knowing smile because he'd witnessed this type of performance before in his decades of talent scouting. Lil Prost. Hadjar stood on the podium alongside Piastri and Verstappen, the youngest French driver to ever reach an F1 podium, and the first Arab driver on these steps. Verstappen was clear. For him to be on the podium here is fully deserved. He drove a great race today. Helmut Marko was direct. We chose him because we knew he had something special, and that's why I call him Little Prost. The nickname referred to the professor, the cerebral, analytical, always thinking 3 corners ahead professor, the mathematics equation of Hadjar's helmet, physicist father, and that remarkable 3-lap adaptation. Everything pointed to this comparison. When he arrived at a new circuit, Marko told Sky Sports, after just 3 laps, he is competitive and nothing affects his performances. Behind the scenes at Milton Keynes, the decision had been made. Red Bull needed to solve their second seat problem, and since 2018, 6 drivers had tried partnering Verstappen with devastating results. Gasly demoted after 12 races, Albon psychologically destroyed, Perez endured 4 years before collapse. Lawson lasted just 2 races. Tsunoda managing only 30 points. But 2026 is different. New regulations, new power unit, revised aero, and a genuine fresh start. Hadjar had proven something crucial. He didn't fold under pressure, he adapted with remarkable speed, and he could race wheel to wheel with the best. The promotion was officially announced in 2025, and the reaction from F1 was immediate and intense. And guys, if you want to understand the moments that define F1's next generation, subscribe now, because we break down the races, the psychology, and the performances that separate good drivers from legends. Hit that bell icon so that you never miss the stories that shape motorsport's future. The impossible task. It's December of 2025. Red Bull announced that Isack Hadjar would replace Yuki Tsunoda and partner Max Verstappen for 2026. Lauren Mekies stated that he has demonstrated the raw speed that remains the #1 requirement in this sport. But the brutal history of that seat told a different story. Daniel Ricciardo remains the only teammate who could genuinely challenge Verstappen, but even he left. Every driver since has been systematically broken by the comparison. Former Red Bull engineer Callum Nicholas explained this. He stated, "You overdrive trying to match his speed, which leads to mistakes, more scrutiny, more pressure on your shoulders, and it destroys your confidence." Christian Horner was blunt about this, and he stated, "Max is the hardest teammate in the world to have, but Hadjar has something that the others didn't. He has perfect timing." 2026 brings the biggest regulation change in F1's modern history, with new aerodynamics, smaller cars, and Red Bull's first in-house power unit with Ford. For the first time since 2026, both Red Bull drivers start from zero, with no established development direction. So the question isn't whether Hadjar can become the next Verstappen. Max is a once-in-a-generation, and we all know that. The question is whether Hadjar can do what no one else has done since Ricciardo: survive, score podiums, and maybe challenge for wins. Helmut Marko sees something specific: that Senna-like ability to adapt instantly, the Prost-like analytical approach, and the mental strength to recover from a formation lap crash and reach podium 8 months later. Yes, absolutely, Marko said when he was asked if Hadjar has championship characteristics. He said he has what it takes, which leaves us with one final question that will define the next chapter of F1. Formation lap crash to Red Bull factory seat in just 8 months. The rookie who went from Melbourne tears to a Zandvoort podium now faces the ultimate test: surviving as Max Verstappen's teammate. 2026 will answer everything. Is Hadjar another casualty of Red Bull's cursed second seat, or is he the one who finally breaks the pattern? Can he succeed where 6 others have failed? Drop your predictions in the comments down below, guys, and also don't forget to like and subscribe, because 2026 is going to be fascinating, and I want to know what you think will be coming. Guys, I will catch you on the next one.